Disgraced comedian Bill Cosby has walked out of prison as a free man. Cosby's jail sentence has been overturned by the Pennsylvania State Supreme Court after it reviewed his case. Cosby was sentenced to 3 to 10 years in prison when he was convicted of sexual assault in 2018. The former Cosby Show star appealed to the court in early May to be released on parole, but was denied because he wouldn't participate in, quote, a treatment program for sex offenders and violence prevention, per USA Today. The publication noted on May 27th that Cosby would not be released from prison anytime soon. The news of his release comes just over 1 month after the report. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court reviewed 2 challenges by Cosby's lawyers, which they filed in December 2020. The first issue Cosby and his team brought up involved the judge's decision to let prosecutors call 5 other accusers into his retrial. Per AP News, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court concluded that the additional testimonies, quote, tainted the trial. The other issue raised argued that Cosby had a prior agreement with a former prosecutor that he'd never be charged. According to CNN anchor and correspondent Ana Cabrera, the decision cannot be appealed by the prosecution in the state of Pennsylvania. In other words, the decision to vacate Bill Cosby's sentence cannot be argued against or overturned. Many Twitter users are utterly shocked by the news. But Greg Price, a social media associate at the Daily Caller, said people should look to Cosby's wealth as a factor in the case. He tweeted, clearly unhappy with the news, Bill Cosby, yet another member of the elite walking free because he could afford attorneys that could find technicalities in the system to overturn his conviction. He also mentioned that the prosecutors in the case are to blame for the Pennsylvania Supreme Court's overturning his charges. Matthew Chapman, a breaking news reporter for Raw Story, agreed. He said, this is why prosecutorial misconduct matters, even when it occurs against repellent, obviously guilty predators like Bill Cosby. Prosecute people by the book and criminals won't have to go free. That's the real key to this decision. The prosecution didn't follow the law as it is written. While Bill's wife Camille Cosby has yet to publicly comment on the reversal of husband Bill Cosby's charges, it's likely that she is more than pleased. In June 2020, her first interview in 6 years, she told ABC News that she was, quote, very, very pleased with the Pennsylvania Supreme Court's decision to hear her husband's appeal at the time. She said, my first reaction is hopefulness, possibilities. The state's highest court has said, wait a minute, there are some problems here. They can be considered for an appeal. According to ABC, at the time, the court decided to look into the complaint that the trial judge erred in allowing Cosby's prior deposition about using Quaaludes during consensual sexual encounters with women in the 1970s at trial. The second argument involved, quote, a written agreement from previous Montgomery County prosecutor Bruce Castor not to criminally prosecute Cosby in the Constand case. Andrea Constand accused Bill Cosby of sexually assaulting her in 2004 while she worked for Temple University. While there's no telling what Bill will want to do with his life upon his return, it's possible that he may take some guidance from his wife, who, according to ABC News, is ready to be in the spotlight. Per ABC, Camille plans to use her voice to help African American people fight for systematic change in America. Jacqueline Jackson, wife of Reverend Jesse Jackson and friend of Camille, told ABC she has so much to say. She's been on the people's business, frontline, and center for decades. Her voice is very profound and very mature, and extremely unique. When she speaks, you ought to listen. Only time will tell if Camille brings her husband along in her fight for change. Bill Cosby made a brief statement upon his release. In part, he said, I have never changed my stance nor my story. I have always maintained my innocence. If you or anyone you know has been a victim of sexual assault, help is available. Visit the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network website or contact RAIN's National Helpline at 1-800-656-HOPE. That's 1-800-656-4673.